Business and Financial Raw Talk, a no-holds-barred forum for leaders and innovators with award-winning business strategist and financial analyst, LaWanna Bradford with the Bradford Group. With Raw Talk, we are empowering women to rise and succeed in business and finances, and improve the world for the next generation. Get ready to get raw and real. Live each Tuesday at 6 p.m. Eastern on e360tv.com.
Hello, and welcome to another edition of Business and Financial Raw Talk. I am LaWanna Bradford with the Bradford Group as well as Bradford Group Consulting, where we help businesses navigate their way to success by uncovering the opportunity in the chaos. And I am so excited because today I have an amazing special guest. Dr. Forbes Riley is in the house. She's backstage waiting to join us. And we are going to do a little deep dive conversation around the pitch and what it means to achieve success in your business, to see that financial gain that you want. But it's all about having that compelling message that draws people in, that makes them curious, that basically sets them up for that offer they can't refuse, right? So before we get started, I want to give a salute to our sponsor, Help Heal Humanity. And the next person you'll see on stage with me is none other than Dr. Forbes Riley.
For the past 5 years, Help Heal Humanity has successfully run an elementary school in Canaan, Haiti. Due to COVID-19, the political unrest, and the recent earthquakes, food is scarce. The students attending our program are coming to school starving, and therefore causing a disruption in their academic goals. We need your help, now more than ever, to provide these students with the nourishment they need to continue their education. Our goal is to raise $100,000 so we can feed 100 kids lunch daily and send them to school in the upcoming year. Thank you for your support.
Welcome, Dr. Forbes Riley. How's it going?
You know, it's so funny because I hear the doctor. Guys, it was an honorary doctor. People are like, are you a surgeon? I'm like, yeah, I'm an emotional soul surgeon. I will get your business to a whole nother level. And I showed the photo just to go, yes, this is me. So, you know, one of the things that I love to do in the beginning, and I know we're very conversational, but I'm thinking that for anybody who doesn't know me or have not seen me, you're living under a rock. No, actually, there was a time way back when where infomercials were the thing on television. I don't even own a television. I own a screen and I watch Netflix and Hulu. But when infomercials were running and TV was running, I was on television like 400 times a week. And I get people don't really know that. So I'm going to play just a little bit so you guys can go, oh, I recognize her from TV. Can you see that?
Hold on. Here we go.
There you go.
Let's give it up for Forbes Riley. The reason you don't have what you want is you don't know what it is.
I grossed $2.5 billion by tweaking people's pitches on infomercials. You hear things differently than I do. I hear money every time somebody talks. I hear enrollment, engagement.
Hi, I'm Forbes Riley, and today we've got a great product for you. Take a look at this.
She's got me working out of, what are these called?
It's called a spin gym.
She launched her multi-million-dollar company by mortgaging her house and her kids' education fund. She knew it was going to happen.
I think pitch is everything. I don't care what kind of product that you've got. If you don't know how to pitch or articulate it, you will go nowhere.
And that is a great place to stop that, because I am all about you getting to your amazing pitch. And it means something different to me than I think most people. LaWanna, when you hear the word pitch, what do you hear?
I hear offer.
Offer. Well, that's interesting. So for me, a pitch is how I live my life. When my kids want a cookie, they're pitching me. When they want the car, they're pitching me. When I want my husband to do something, I'm pitching him to take out and it's about engagement, enrollment, and excitement. And it's funny because if you can master the art and science of this pitch, that when you do want someone to buy your product or take your course or come to your summit, your pitch becomes very fluid. Isn't it kind of weird when people do that salesy pitch like, hey, I'm a sales pitch and I'm going to get you to do something? Or if I just enrolled you and you didn't even know and you're like, yes, I want that. Yes, I want this. It's like, how do you think I sold 2.5 billion? I didn't sell anybody anything. I got people to want what I had. And the more I found that to be true, the easier and more fun it got.
How did you uncover that? Because, like you said, you're getting people excited about the message. And those of us, from coming old school, we remember having the sales scripts, right? Whatever that product was, you go through the sales, you go through your list of objections, and rinse and repeat.
Well, that is a very interesting phenomenon because I didn't know that existed until well into my career. I've never done sales. I've never done network marketing, that kind of a boiler room. And when I finally saw scripts that people had, I thought, isn't that fascinating? And I will tell you, though, there is a moment where if you're new to the world, following a script does work. And I've created scripts, but I've done it backwards. The problem for most people when they read a script is it doesn't come from them organically. But I will tell you that once you hit on some things that work, you should always do those things that work. In fact, I play a little game here. I have a pad right here with nothing on it. My dad was a magician, can you tell? And I'm going to ask you a question. And the question is, let's see. LaWanna, would you like to see something cool? Wait, don't say it yet. Don't say it. I made a prediction. I wrote it on the pad. Okay. Would you like to see something cool?
Yes.
How did I know you're going to say yes? So is that a magic trick or is that part of my script? And what happened for me was I apparently came out of the womb pitching, and I'll share them at the beginning, but I have a fitness product here. Have you ever seen my spin gym?
Yes.
Yeah, this is an amazing fitness product that when I brought it out to the world, I was on a reality show and I was told it was never going to work. And, they might have been right, but I had a different vision for this. And so I've now become the cheerleader for everybody who thinks they have a goofy idea that no one else thinks is going to work. I call that Forbesing it. What have you Forbes? What have you manifested when people told you no? And we've all heard no, and we've done it anyway. So with this guy, I was excited about it. I loved it. I had all the things in my head. I've already pitched millions of dollars of product. And I would do those conventions, the 8x12 little spaces that you get. People would come by, I'd be working out with them, and they wouldn't buy it. And I did that for almost a year. And I got very frustrated. I said, I'm better than this. And then I went back and I looked at my own pitch formula. I was telling people what they needed. Oh, come on, you need to work out. You need to get your arms fit. That word need is the death of a pitch. You want to get people to want what you have. And so all of a sudden I said, well, what is it that people want? They don't want another piece of equipment. They don't want to be told how wonderful I am. They want to feel it. They want to know that it's working. They want ease of use and portability. And I thought, well, and then the pitch became this simple. I literally walk up to people and go, hey, do you want to see something cool? They always say that. They don't even know that they're part of my script. And then I'll say, LaWanna, give me your thumbs. See, I didn't say any word and you gave me your thumbs. Isn't that funny? Why did you do that? You did it because I found out that this works. And if you were with me, I'd put it on your thumbs and I'd start to do that. And within 4 pulls, you're going to go, oh my God, I feel this. This is amazing. And I stopped talking. And my pitch became listening to them. Interesting script. So I put this whole script together. I can sell a spin gym in 90 seconds to almost anybody. Well, funny thing about scripts, like you said, so my daughter went to a convention because I couldn't make one with a group of my girls who I'd been training. And my daughter listens to me. I don't know why. And she came back and she said, Mom, this is the craziest thing. I did the script exactly as you told me, and I sold almost everybody, but nobody else on our team wanted to do the script and they didn't make sales. And so I will tell you that creating what works for you is really important because that rinse and repeat thing is true. I have the same product. I have different people to sell it to. You don't need to be, but once you got to find that. And what I'm in the business now of doing is getting you to find your perfect pitch for whatever it is that you're doing. And anybody who's watching, I know, can we see comments on Facebook right now? I think we probably can. I'm going to give you one of my big secrets, and that is stop telling people that they need what you have. Don't you find that people always come up to you, oh, wow, you need this new vitamin, or you need this new cell phone, or you need... No. We don't buy what we need. We buy what we want. So if I can get you to want what I have, I win. So do me a favor, LaWanna, hang up, put your arm up here. Touch the back of your arm. Is it nice and tight, or is it a little wiggly? Yeah. And
It feels pretty good.
Girl, this is how I sold millions. Every woman's got a little bit. I know
Just a
that.
little bit, just a little.
I know the answer before I ask the question. Unless I'm talking to a super fit 22-year-old bodybuilder, you got a little bit. And I'm going to tell you that this thing pulls, it actually spins at 125,000 RPM. It's different from a resistance band. And I'll tell you what, it engages your, these are 62-year-old arms, guys. This thing really does work. And so if you want sexy toned arms and you're stuck at a Zoom desk, I got you covered. And so all of a sudden you're like, oh, I do want that. And that's how you sell and enroll everybody. And if you want one, you go to shop Forbes Riley and you can have one.
Now, I know there's some people listening, Dr. Forbes, and they're thinking, okay, that sounds too easy. It has to be more complicated than that.
Why?
I think because we're conditioned to think it is. Yeah, we're conditioned to think that selling is hard.
Well, I guess it is. Pitching is easy, selling is hard. You know, it's a funny thing. Well, no, but you're bringing up a great thing about mindset. You know, since COVID hit, I really took on a lot of students. I've had almost 14,000 students go through my basic pitch program. And I do that every Sunday live. I just spend 2 hours teaching and coaching people because I don't want people to think it's hard. You know, I do a lot of what I do because of my family, my upbringing. I think we all do. But when I was younger, my dad had a lot of ideas in his head and he never got any of them out to the world. And I thought that was so sad. And so I committed a lot of my time and energy to help people get on infomercials or live home shopping and to stop making it so hard. Because wouldn't it be nice? You know, you asked me, I just came back from a month in Greece with my daughter, and I'm going to share my little screen again. Because how do you take a month vacation? You know how? You don't. Well, what does that mean? Does that mean you don't take a vacation? We worked on our trip. Now, this picture, which I think is beautiful, is a photo that we took in Santorini, Greece, and I'm going to use that for my branding. Well, that means I was working on my vacation. This is a picture of my daughter. You know, we get to use that. So all of a sudden now the vacations are right off and we worked a little bit. Is that a bad thing? I don't think so. And so people always say, well, how did you start all of this? And one of the things for me, I'll give you right here. This is me. That's me with my amazing dad. And, you know, we all have stories. Mine started out great. I had two parents who loved me. And I'm going to share with you, you don't need to have a lot in life, but having love and having somebody cherish you is really vitally important. If you haven't figured that out, find somebody to love or who loves you. We adopted a kid for a while. That's a tragic story, actually, what happened. And life has all kind of crazy turns in it, right? But I'm a big fan that life happens for you, not to you. So when I was 8 years old, you can see that little crazy thing in my mouth. My palate grew kind of weird. And I was cute as a 6-year-old. By the time I was 7, I got hit in the face with a baseball bat. And my teeth were weird. And they put me in a full set of braces as a little girl. Can you imagine a little girl with a full set of railroad braces? And then they put me in this tongue twister. And now I talk like this for 2 years. I had very few friends. I grew up in a time when we ate lots of fast food. We had no money. I was overweight. I had this broken nose and frizzy hair. And I wasn't conventional. Something tells me, LaWanna, you know what it's like not to look conventional, right? You just want to be, I want to be Marsha Brady with straight blonde hair. And I wasn't, right? So then, if that wasn't bad enough, my dad slipped. He built that printing press, even though he didn't graduate college. He was a magician and an inventor and a dreamer. One day, though, he put his hand on there, he slipped, and he cut off the whole front of his hand. Ended up in the hospital for 3 years, my high school. And so now we got this kind of quirky, socially awkward little girl. And my mom says we have no money for college. That's all that I was looking forward to. And she did say, but there's this beauty pageant in town. It's giving a scholarship to college. And we looked at each other and she's like, yeah, no. Thanks, Mom. Really? Okay, love the vote of confidence. But she was right. And what the weird thing is, and this is what I want all of you to hear, is that when you start to talk about your dreams, you can manifest them and make them come true. And so we talked about this, and my dad's doctor looked at me and said, we're going to fix her nose for free for you guys. Now, I don't think anybody even thinks that's a big deal. But the little girl in this photo, went from having an upside down smile to a right side up smile. And my eyes got brighter and mine just looked different. And I literally said to my parents, based on who was looking at me back in the mirror, and said, I'm going to enter this competition. And you know what? I'm going to get a scholarship to college. And there were 500 girls when I walked into the room. And I said, one of them is going to be on TV on NBC with Bob Hope, and it's going to be me. That's a pipe dream. 500 girls. I have no skills. I have no real talent. I was a tap dancer. Oh, yeah. But I wanted it. And I'll tell you what happened. In the middle of a mall, wearing a hand-me-down blue, bridesmaid's dress, they called my name, and I won against all the crazy odds. And then I went on to the nationals, and you know what? I was the little girl on TV with Bob Hope. Now, LaWanna, I'll share a story, though. That week of pageantry, worst week of my life. I was a fish out of water. I had no social skills. I didn't even eat the way other people ate. I talk like I'm from New York. It's in Oklahoma in 1977. They're like, y'all have the funniest accent I ever heard. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? I have an accent. This isn't that accent. Oh my God. I mean, you don't talk like that. You don't. And I was a different religion from other people in the middle of the country, and they went to town on me. And it was one of the worst weeks of my life. And you know what it taught me? One, you're never going to fit in, so you better stand out. Two, people judge each other by all kind of stupid shit. Don't you ever do that to other people, because it hurts when you do. And I discovered diversity a long time before. I mean, this is 1977. I got the message that you will never fit in. So stand out, which is an interesting way to do it. I got to go to college because of that. Now, that's my mom. My mom was 260 pounds my whole life. I think she's about 50 in that picture. I graduated, and I said to myself, I don't want to be my mother. I love her so much, but I want to be fit. I want to make a difference. I want to be an actress. I went off to be an actor. My parents were so upset with me. And I created Forbes Riley. And the picture here, LaWanna, I am like 10 years older than my mom is in that photo.
Wow.
It's like, damn, you know what? You really did create something that is what I wanted. And so part of what I do now, especially with women, because we have been put down, told what we can't do by people who never did it. And I'm here to tell you what you can do and how you can live a dream bigger than your expectations, bigger than your family, bigger than your society, your culture, whatever told you you can't do it. And I'm going to tell you you can. And I'm going to tell you you can because I did it. And I've got two beautiful 19-year-olds, a little boy and a little girl. I'm in love with a man 17 years younger than me. Our 5-year anniversary is next week. And I watched him go through some stuff. And I think my role on this planet is to serve as a bit of a role model. You know, women were not afforded the opportunities that I paved the way for. I worked in all male industries. I fought my way. I fought my way not to sleep with anybody to get ahead. I did all the crazy things that you and I remember. There was no Me Too back then. There were a lot of things back then. But if we're here and we got through it, I think our job is to turn around and make it easier for other people.
I love what you're saying. And that's the thing, that when we have these lived experiences, it's a shame if we don't turn around and say, how can I share this so that someone else doesn't have to go through the hell that I went through, right? But they can circumvent that and reach their success, their pinnacle, that much faster, that much easier. And one of the things that I found, especially in this women entrepreneur space, and I'd like you to talk a little bit about this, is we hear the term sisterhood, right? We're using that a lot. But when it really comes to us engaging one another, there's still this sense of competition, which I feel is kind of founded in fear, instead of just allowing each other to be, coming together, sharing our strengths and leveraging them so that we can propel each other further faster. Or farther faster, I guess that's a better word.
Oh, being a girl is so challenging. No, I didn't have a whole lot of friends growing up because of how I looked. And my daughter did. And I discovered that when I look at women are different. But when I look at little girls are real catty. They're real challenging. My daughter got picked on for all kinds of things. I'm thinking, is that how little girls really are? Is that how we're wired to behave? And as we get older, I personally look at women because I've done so much work now that I realize I don't want to trade places with you. I don't care how tall, skinny, or big boobed you are. You've been through some hell and I don't want to trade places with you. But I was listening to a comic yesterday who was talking about women supporting women. And you know, there is a basketball league all about women called the WBA. And we don't watch it. We don't support it. We just don't. Men do. They all support each other. And maybe it's because men grew up playing sports in school, football and baseball and all those things. And we grew up doing beauty pageants. You know what a beauty pageant is? I'm prettier than you. I'm thinner than you. We're judging each other all the time. We're taught to do that. By the way, my man just came in. I'm doing a little podcast. Come sit down for just 2 seconds and say hi. This would be Joshua. Oh, Joshua, you just won a big national competition, didn't you?
Congratulations.
Thank you.
That is
Appreciate it.
LaWanna.
What you guys talking about?
We're talking about women. I'm talking about what the comedian said the other day about women not supporting women.
Oh,
Do you think that's true?
I think it goes both ways, but yeah.
Yeah, you guys play in sports and you have a little more camaraderie than we do.
Well, it's all about excitement, right? If you're not excited to watch, why would you want to watch them?
Oh, okay. You're talking about that. You're WBA. All right, I love you, baby.
All right.
He just got back from the gym. By the way, he's a great role model because 2 years ago he was in a horrific motorcycle accident.
Yeah, I remember you mentioning that. It was unbelievable. The comeback, right?
Yeah.
Truly the comeback.
And I'm very, very proud of how he entered a competition the year after his accident and he didn't win. And it was very hard to watch because he limped on stage. He still has ankle issue. And last weekend, he finally won. He won 2 championship titles and it's just 2 years of hard work. All right, so back to us girls being supportive. I don't know quite what it is about women. I don't know if it's instinctual, but we don't seem to be that supportive of each other. And I'm not quite sure why. Now, I will tell you that when you get to a certain age, I'm just turned 60, I don't have any competition. If you're 20, God bless you. Your skin is tight. I can't compete with that. I love you for being beautiful. If you're older and you're 80, I've got some 90-year-old friends. I love you for getting there. You have to find a sense of who you are. And I think the women who are backbiting or catty or take each other's men are living in a very primal instinct. It's not very sophisticated to do that. And I feel sad because we as women are amazing. Yes, but I think we need to do a better job of literally locking arms and loving on each other and supporting each other and leaving all the old school catty backbiting bullshit behind. I don't have the answer to it, but I know we need to do it.
Yeah, I totally agree. And even like you mentioned earlier that you were celebrating diversity before it became the buzzword of the day. And that's another thing that I recently had a conversation with someone, and they mentioned that they're another entrepreneur, but they said, well, we really don't know what a woman of color can offer us.
Excuse me?
And I thought, really? That, and this is a wonderful, brilliant woman, but I thought, how sad that you are so myopic that you can't see the brilliance around you and get out of your box, get out of your way and celebrate others, because you never know what talent that person of color may be bringing to the table for you or what gift they may have for you.
See, you got to forgive me here because I don't see life that way. And I hear a sentence like that and I just cannot comprehend how shallow that person's life experiences have been. When I was 10 years old in fifth grade, 10 years old, I grew up in an environment in Long Island, New York, where all my neighbors were white. They were Italian and Jewish. Pizza, pasta, matzah. And we didn't think anything of it. Go to school one day, and everybody who's got brown eyes has to stay after school, pick up the garbage, and do extra homework. Everybody who had blue and green eyes got to go home early and had nothing to do. Well, I'm like, I got green eyes. And they're like, no, yours are brown. You're Hazel, you're brown. And I'm glad ultimately, but it was a crappy week. I'm 10 years old. I have no idea what's going on. And we actually started to protest. By the way, in 1970, we were all protesting something. The end of the week, we ended up in an auditorium. And they said, well, how does it feel? And we got our little signs and it's horrible. It doesn't make any sense. Why would you judge me because of the color of my eyes? And they calmed us all down and said, look, there's a war going on in this country. There's a movement going on where people who have a different skin color are thought of differently. I got to tell you, if you've ever experienced it like I did at that tender age, you're like, well, that's ridiculous. Who cares what color your skin is, what color your eyes are? I'm a person. And that was ingrained in my brain. Unfortunately, I think a lot of other people were raised with different mentalities because people are people. In fact, my experience led me to get this beautiful boy into my life. And I'll share a picture of Dexter, which I don't really show very often, but I got Dexter when Dexter was 8 years old. There he is, his best man at my wedding. I married a big old 6'6" white guy. We called Dexter his little brother. Let me tell you, every vacation, Dexter was there. Dexter was my boy for 12 years of his life. And I never thought anything of it except that he was mine. He was amazing. He was wonderful. He lived in a confusing neighborhood where they looked at people in a different way. I get that. And the problem with that was when Dexter was 19 years old, his anniversary just came up, walking from haircut to church on a Sunday, kid, same color as him, walked up behind him and shot my little boy in the back 10 times and left him for dead on the sidewalk. So I don't know how you look at somebody and judge their quality or their talent by the color of their skin. It's because I don't know about you, but I look at basketball players and singers, and if you're white, you're not so good. No, where do you come off not looking at a human being as a human being?
Yeah. I think when individuals are there and aren't willing to expand and really enjoy this love walk, because that's what our life is. It's a love walk. You really miss on what's delicious in life. I mean, it's so shallow. It's really, you're existing, but you're not living, you're not thriving. And I think it's very sad. And I want to take us back to the pitch, because you said with the pitch, we're helping to engage, we're creating that excitement. But in order for me to create excitement, I have to believe it, right? I have to believe in what I am representing. And so many people they're not sold out for their own vision, their own dream, but they expect everyone else to jump in and celebrate.
So I'm going to start with a couple of things that I love to do. My pitch, I think, starts from when I ask you, what do you do? You go to a networking event, that's what they ask you, right? What do you do? So LaWanna, what do you say?
I help people create opportunity in the chaos.
Okay. Now, the problem with that sentence is I don't technically know what you do.
I know.
And what, well, you know what? Most people never talk about this minutia, but I can make money on a handshake. Because I truly think if you can take that first moment and make it work for you, because I don't think people care what you do. They care what you can do for them. So very specifically, first of all, I'm going to start with your name. You know, and I think this is important. You ever meet somebody and you can't remember their name 5 minutes after you met them? Mm-hmm. It's because they didn't make it very memorable. When I'm at an event, I'll say, hey, my name is Forbes Riley, Forbes as in the magazine. I got to tell you, you're not forgetting that moment. Because when I used to just say Forbes Riley, they're like, what's your name? And we make a whole big deal about my name. Now, same thing with your name. So let's play with your name. What's your name?
I'm LaWanna, also known as the connector.
Okay, so I'm LaWanna, as in if you want to connect, I'm your girl. Just kind of change the Yeah, having some fun with her. That's LaWanna. Yeah. I know. This is what I do for a living. I take these tiny words and I make the magic out of people's mouths. So now if I ask you, what do you do? What if I ask the question, what can you do for me? What would you say?
Okay, so you're putting me on the spot.
Well, but you're on the spot all the time. When you go to a networking event, trust me, this is a good exercise and your audience is going to love you.
What can I do for you? I can help. Oh my goodness, I'm going to sound too technical and I know I shouldn't do that. But I can help you develop the strategies that you need, that you are looking for to achieve the success that you want. Okay,
I'm going to drill down a little bit more. Because I think that if you can get a yes from people in those first couple of seconds, your business would increase. So what do you actually do for people?
I help them with their strategic planning.
And how do you come to that expertise?
I've had over 30 years of experience working with government agencies and corporations.
Excellent. And so if you had a client like me, do you work with entrepreneurs like me?
Yes.
And so what kind of result might I experience?
You would experience measurable results as far as increasing your bottom line or increasing your customer engagement.
So if somebody says, hey, LaWanna, what do you do? And you say, you know, as somebody who's worked for 30 years with government and private industries, I take entrepreneurs like you, Forbes, add a zero to your income in no time. Want to know more?
Love it. Love it.
Yeah, then that opens the door to go, well, what? Yeah, come on, tell me more. because you basically gave me what I want. I want to make more money doing what I'm doing, and I don't have your experience. Let's put 2 and 2 together and make 4. And so that, when I talk about pitching, I just enrolled you into what you do. It's pretty funny. Between your name and all of a sudden, it's not a dry, boring, because people just start talking to me and I don't think they're communicating. They're just talking. If you're not getting a response, if you're not really talking into somebody, and I'll tell you how I know a beginner pitcher, these 3 words. What do? I help people. That's what I help people do this, and I help people. Well, I'm right here in front of you. I'm a people. What can you do for me? Come on, you want to start making more money? You're going to start changing your languaging.
I love that.
Thank you.
And it's funny the way you just said it is a spin on what Warren Buffett talks about, is mastering the communication, the art of communication, because it is your moneymaker.
We are not taught this. We are taught to whine and complain and bitch, and I don't know what else we do with people, or run stories endlessly that have no point. And I will tell you, though, those of us who are successful have mastered this art of getting other people to listen to what we're doing, to communicate with them, to move them, motivate them, get them to take action. When you want to build a team or sell a product, you got to move somebody else to take action. So we don't really care what you're saying or what you do. Well, I just love what I do. I'm so passionate about it. Good for you. I got to get that. But that's what people do all the time. They will just bore me to tears by telling me how much they love what they do. Well, good for you. How does that have to do with my life?
But you know what? Mm-hmm. And I'm not saying but to discount you. We're actually taught that when you have different coaches, they are telling you, you want to sell this passion, focus on your why. It's all about me, me, me. And by the way, did I tell you more about me?
Good for them. You know what? There's a coach on every corner right now. I would look towards girlfriend, I've grossed $2.5 billion in sales. I hear about other coaches who just got their certification in the mail from an internet course they took. Be careful who you get advice from, because everyone's got, kind of like a butt. Everyone's got one, and they're happy to share it with you. I just shake my head. And when you mention Warren Buffett, you want to learn from the very, very best. Really go for the philosophies that work. And while I suggest that everybody learns, I teach a pitching class now. I do think you need to learn to earn, but I think it's very important that you qualify who you're listening to, see their level of success. I don't want to work out with a fitness trainer who's overweight. I'm sorry, is that just me technically? Yeah, I appreciate that you're really good at what you do, but you haven't figured out the motivation or the desire to do it for yourself. That's my personal story about it. And so when I see somebody who's wildly successful, that's who I gravitate towards, because I want to go, wow, what is it that they're doing so right? And I talked lately about the 3 M's: maximize, minimize, and monetize. You want to maximize your time on this planet because it's not an endless ticket. You want to minimize the pain, struggling, and suffering by associating with people who can up-level you fast. And you got to stop talking and stop monetizing. I mean, how many times have I been on morning shows and I'm going to make an offer to you guys. I have a thing that I do, and I'm going to invite you to do it, because so often I used to talk and not make any money. You ever do that? You're not enrolling people to take action. Why are you spending your time? And so I thank you very much. I love that. And giving people permission to be successful, permission to ask for what they're worth, permission to get paid. Got to tell you, if you can't, that's the commerce that we do, the energy. If you love what I'm going to say, you're going to enroll, you're going to pay. And the closer you get to the person like me or you or whoever it is, the more you're going to pay. I have a class that I do for $19. You know why? Because I know a time when I was completely broke and I wish somebody would have talked to me. And I show up live for $19. I have a class that I do for $19,000. Only you and I are talking in that room. But if you imagine that you could make enough that you could easily get to that point. So especially for people who are a little afraid of money, you have got to start being around people who are not afraid of money. It'll change your life.
That was powerful. And as women, I find just with my consulting clients, Dr. Forbes, is that there is this mindset limitation. It's like I'm scared to ask, or I'm scared to put a certain price, because what if they say no? And it's like, but what if they say yes? Or what if you find the right people who see the value, who are willing to pay you for what you're offering?
I feel sorry for everybody who graduated high school. You know why? You know what they teach you in school? They teach you to work for other people. They teach you to play small. They teach you to be compliant, to raise your hand, to shut up and listen, to sit in a seat for 40 minutes and wait for a bell like Pavlov's dog. And since most of us graduated high school, we're screwed. And I'm not kidding about that. And then we're taught, then you need to go march off to college for 4 years and pay a lot of money. We can't guarantee that you're going to get anything out of it, but if you don't have that piece of paper, you're not going to get hired. Let me tell you something. Part of what I do in this life is called being disruptive. My daughter is not going to college. You know why? Because she made her first million at 18. She's got 16 people working for her and she owns a company. And she just took 4 weeks off to Greece. Why would she go to college to slow the trajectory down and to learn things that are outdated in a textbook that somebody wrote 20 years ago? We have college interns come for us all the time. And she's the CEO of my company. She's 19. And she looks at me and goes, Mom, what are they teaching these kids? Like, kind of ironic, isn't it? So society will happily put you down. And you know why? I heard this when I was a kid. The singer Cher said about being a rock star, she's like really glad that everybody is not, because otherwise, who would be working in the grocery store? Who would be taking tolls? Who would be cleaning your house? If everybody had a rock star entrepreneurial mindset like I would like you guys to build, there'd be nobody doing regular jobs. So this maybe is not for everybody. Not that everybody doesn't have a dream, and I love people who support other people's dreams, don't get me wrong. But those of us who've walked out to the edge of the cliff and say we want to fly, we want to start something, you got to, number one, pay your dues, surround yourself with great people, and understand that you're going to fall a couple of times, scrape your knees, hit your nose, and only those of us who've been kicked down enough and willing to get back up are the ones that you ever hear about. So please don't spend your time being afraid to get a no or being afraid of failure, or my favorite, I'm afraid of success. Well, guess what? You're not getting any of it. People stand there with a straight face and tell you that I'm afraid of success. Well, then guess what?
It'll never happen.
Right. Don't you feel bad when I'm like, does that sound strange to you?
Yeah. The other thing I'd like you to talk about, and I know Les Brown was one of your mentors.
Yeah.
But then he turned around and paid you just an amazing compliment about how he admires you and now leans into you. So can you tell us a little bit about that story and why surrounding ourselves with mentors, with coaches is so critical if we're trying to get to the next level?
You know what's funny, especially with somebody like Les Brown, the best part of Les is that he started out with absolutely freaking nothing. And yet I could listen to that man talk every day. And so if you're looking at that going, well, he wasn't born with a silver spoon in his mouth. He wasn't born the right color when he was born. He was born on the floor of a tenement building. He didn't have a dad growing up. And yet he did it. Oh my God. Will I tell you, when I first met this man, it was like love at first sight. There was an energy and a passion. And I've listened to him speak hundreds and hundreds of times. And one of the things that he gave me courage, because he's one of the first people to say, Forbes, you got a big message and you're playing way too small. And that was a little hurtful. He watched a speech that I did. I went before him, and he called me that night and spent 2 hours just yakking in my ear because I didn't understand the structure of speaking. There were things that I just didn't know, because speaking is not talking. Being on big stages is not just talking. And the way he poured into me, and he still does that. It's just fascinating. And I get to give back to him. In fact, I'll share a little picture. Here's a little game I'll play with you, men versus women. How many male motivational speakers can you name? Tony Robbins.
Tony Robbins, Dean
Gracioso, Grant Cardone, Gary Vee. Yeah, okay. Now, how many women at that level can you name?
Forbes Riley.
I think there's something funny about that. Well, let me tell you something. There are
not many, and I've thought about that before. Not many.
Right. So I'm on Clubhouse one night, and I said out loud, all these men, right? Well, you know what happened to me the next day? Take a look at your screen. I got sent this picture. Well, this picture's actually been playing for a year and a half now. Guess who's in the middle there? Now, Sharon Lechter is definitely a woman that you didn't mention, but she was the co-writer of Rich Dad, Poor Dad. But there's John Astroff and Chicken Soup for the Soul, Jack Canfield, and Eric Thomas, and then Les Brown. Look who's in the middle there. And you guys will go, well, how did you get that? You know what? I wanted it. I kept talking about it and said, I think it's my turn. And so this goes for all of you listening. No one is going to give you what you want. That's not what we do as humans. We don't say, oh, I just found this person. I'm going to give them $1 million. I'm going to give them a job. I'm going to give them. It doesn't really happen that way. You have to want it. You have to architect it. You have to see it. You have to start serving more people than just you. You have to stop saying things like fear of failure, fear of success, fear it all. Because fear is FEAR, false evidence appearing real. It's not real. What's the worst that happens to you? You really have to also learn that you can't be embarrassed. I've been on stage where my dress fell off and I've had all kind of stupid stuff that's happened. I tripped up on stage one day when I got an award. A normal person would be, oh, I'm so embarrassed. Me, I'm like, that's a moment we'll never forget. And how you turn these things to work for you, how you decide to stand for something in whatever field you're doing, please just wake up in the morning and stop playing small. In fact, I urge you, Marianne Williamson is one of my, I don't know her, but she's one of my mental mentors. She wrote a beautiful poem that went something about, it is not our darkness that most frightens us, it is our light. When you are big enough, you give people around you permission to also be big. And if you've never walked into that part of your life, you deserve to. And I think if you're listening to this and you're in LaWanna's world, that it's about time, especially if you're a woman. We cannot continue to do what we've been doing and expect a different result. We've got to be different. We've got to expect different. We got to be around, level up with each other. And that's what I'm about right now. It's all I'm about.
Yeah, I love it. I think when we are able to really tap into our truth, whatever it is, like you said, you realize I've got to be different. I've got to stand in that difference. I've got to celebrate that difference. And when you're able to do that and do so confidently, boldly, unapologetically, it's amazing how magnetic you can become. I want to share this with you. I shared, I met this was, maybe about 30 years ago, a multimillionaire named Jim McCracken. And I asked him one question. I said, if you were to give me one piece of advice, what would you give me? And he said, that's easy. He said, never ever think there's a lack of money. He said, there's only a lack of knowledge and wisdom. So if you pray for anything, pray for knowledge and wisdom. Well, my niece and nephew, they're twins and they're 16 and they were summer interning for me this summer. And I shared that with them. And I said, because of that shift in my mindset, I always believe that unexpected sources of money fall into my lap. Within 1 week, Forbes, I get a check for 42 cents. And I showed this to them and I was celebrating it. And they're like, well, Auntie Juana, it's 42 cents. I said, it's 42 cents I didn't have. 5 days later, I get an unexpected check for over $19,000. And I said, what if I had scoffed at that 42 cents? What if I had torn it up and said, I'm not going to cash this check? Would that 19,000 have come around? I don't know.
That's a great story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we are almost out of time, and I want to take myself down and give you 5 to 7 minutes to talk to the audience and let you take it away, okay?
Well, thank you, my girl. I appreciate you very much. And you know what? That is probably the biggest gift that I've gotten lately is that people want to listen to what I have to say. And so let me take this time and figure out the direction. I don't have anybody chatting in the group, so I'm just going to go on my concept of what pitching is and ask you, if you've got a product, service, or idea, what are you doing with it? You know, I have a program that my daughter and I created called GSD. It's called Get Shit Done. And it goes something like this. My ugly book is better than your no book. My ugly course is better than your no course. My product that's not finished is better than your not product that you've never gotten out there. And so I question you and say, all right, what is it that you want to do? You want to be a coach. You want to sell a product. You only want to do one of a bunch of things. Have you become an expert in that? Have you truly understood? And these are things, and you know, and I'll tell you, we have a thing called GSD with Forbes. It's a great system. When I ask people to write an ebook, all I'm asking you to do is to write a lead magnet. What people don't seem to understand, I'm trying to look for a piece of paper here, is that you are the center of your universe. You have this sphere of influence. And even if you have one person in your sphere of influence, There's a way to grow it now with the internet. And if you don't understand how to use this beautiful platform, you need to get in touch with what it can do for you. LaWanna has the beautiful streaming. We're on Facebook Live. We're on this platform live. I got to tell you, you guys, even if you have a little idea. So I started an empire with my daughter 2 years ago in coaching. How did I do it? Well, you could say, Forbes, oh, it's easy for you. No. I got inspired by a girlfriend of mine who, with my fitness product, she lost 100 pounds. And she said to me in the middle of COVID, everything was shut down. I wasn't earning any money. And she said that she started doing a class for $19 a student. And I thought, okay, $19. She said, yeah, I have 100 students every week who show up who want to learn how I lost my 100 pounds. Oh, and by the way, your spin gym is one of my secrets. I said, well, thank you for that. And then I said, wait a second. Did you say you have 100 students at $19? I did the math. That was $1,900 for a Zoom call. And then she was doing it every week. She said, yeah, I do it every week. I've been doing it for like 12 weeks. That's $7,800 a month. And I thought, I could do that. And that sounds crazy, right? You can do this too. I'm sure you've got something in your brain that you could do for $19. And so I put together, I've always been teaching how to pitch my class, which, by the way, I teach on Sunday, and I will offer you guys can come to that. In fact, you can come to it. Write this down, www.pitchsecretsmasterclass.com. Now, I teach that $19 class live on a Zoom call, and I'll meet you, and I'll take your pitch, and it's the most interactive, fun thing. So, Forbes, why would you do that? Well, I've had 14,000 students go through Pitch Secrets Masterclass. That's a lot of students. And then, given the training I've gotten on how the internet works, I enroll 30 to 50% of them into my $1,000 personal training coaching thing I do. Wow, do the math on that. It's been almost $2 million in the last 2 years. It started with a $19 class. So what do you need to make that happen? Number one, you need to know what you're doing. You need to know what you're selling, what you're promoting, what you're pitching, what you're teaching. You need to understand who wants what you have. There's nothing worse than watching one of my friends or clients write a book that nobody wants to read, but they couldn't wait to write it. No, I think of everything backwards. I don't start teaching until I ask people, what do you want from me? Oh, Forbes, I want to know, how do you get confident? How do you communicate? How do you speak? How do you pitch? I put that together as a course. And then I'll work it backwards a little bit more. And I have this thing called GSD, an ebook. It's how do you write that little book that lets you be an expert? So I've got GSD, a pitch, the 5 secrets to pitching any idea, anytime, anywhere, and making millions with your ideas. People want that all over. I give that for free. So you read that, and it tells you the top four things that I've got. And the 5th one is come to my Sunday class for $19. Well, lots of people show up. Can you write a book that just tells the 5 things that you do in business, the 5 things that you know? It could be 5 secrets to why yoga can make you healthy, 5 secrets to mastering NFTs and understanding this new metaverse. It doesn't matter what you know. I'll bet you know something that other people don't. I've done it as silly as if you've got your grandmother's best brownie recipe, 5 tips to making the most delicious brownie you've ever imagined and still stay on a keto diet. Oh my God, my girl sold like 32,000 of those. Unbelievable, right? And she tells you how to do it. And then what she does to make money is she sells a pre-made mix. Oh my God, hundreds of thousands of dollars on a brownie recipe? So in my world, we think of things differently. LaWanna talked about how most people think. I don't really understand how most people think. I didn't grow up like most people. And when people say to me, oh, Forbes, you're such an out-of-the-box thinker, my reaction is, what box? Think about it. How do you shift? I'll tell you one thing you should do. They often say that you're the sum of the 5 people you hang out with. You're also the average of the income of those people. If you're hanging out with broke people, think about it. If you're hanging out with millionaires, got a couple of billionaires, that will change your perspective. For me, LaWanna mentioned working with her 2 16-year-old niece and nephew. My kids are only 19 years old. So for the last 19 years, the 2 people closest to me have been crazy dreamers. They've been imaginative. My daughter's got a book coming out called Every Company Needs a Kid. That is a book that focuses on that most adults just only see this. Kids have no idea what's right or wrong. They think they can do anything. And at 8 years old, that girl in my business, she came in to look at something and she saved our company $48,000 as an 8-year-old. I want to hang out with that girl. She came to me, Mom, and said, there's this crazy thing called Bitcoin. It's only $100. We should buy some. I didn't listen. You know, people who bought Bitcoin at $100 are now multimillionaires. I should have listened. They have energy, they have spunk, they have imagination, they have drive. And the other thing that I love about kids, they like to play. Adults, we like to work. And we like to work so much that we don't even exercise. We're going to go work out. Oh my God, do we have to keep working, or could we just play? Play sports, play games, play with each other. And so in the final few moments that I've got with you, number one, thank you very much. LaWanna has built a beautiful platform. She's got such a big spirit. I love that she invited me to come play with her. I offer and I bring to the table the idea that you can pitch whatever you do. And I'll tell you what, I make JV relationships. If you've got a consulting firm or you're in business, your clients need to know how to pitch better. If you're in a network marketing company, people under you need to know how to pitch better. I don't keep anybody's clients. I teach them, I kind of puff them up, polish them, and send them back to you, because that's what I'm all about. And then on a really fun note, totally on the other side of my life, I still love being an actress. So if you go to Amazon Prime and type in Farm to Fork to Love, it's a beautiful little movie about food and relationships and romance. And I play a New York City food critic. I co-star in it. And it's a great little project. Everyone who's seen it just smiles. So if you want to up-level your professional, your personal, whatever it is that in your world you want to pitch, that link is on the screen. And then we got a whole, and then just find me on social media. I have the most wonderful inner circle. I love communicating and posting ideas and sharing all kinds of things with people. We just live a great life. You know why? Because I decided that you get what you tolerate, and living a bad life wasn't working for me anymore. Being around people who were abusive and narcissistic wasn't working for me anymore. But I had to wait to get to a pretty old age to do that. Remember that maximize, minimize, and monetize? Let's maximize your time on this planet. You're not even guaranteed tomorrow, so make the most of today. Let's minimize the struggle, the pain, the worry, the fear, because it's not doing you any good. Let's just minimize that and monetize it. And to monetize means to just this exchange of money, get paid what you're worth, allow yourself to afford vacations and nice clothes, whatever it is that you want that makes you happy. Money isn't the end all, but I will tell you what, people say money doesn't make you happy. Lack of money will definitely make you unhappy. So those are my 2 cents. I'm Forbes Riley. It's been an absolute treat, and I want to thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Forbes. And I have to just add this. Stop playing small. You get what you tolerate. Let that percolate to those that are listening live and or the replay.
Oh, I know. I need to hear that every day. Well, I hope this is everything and more that you planned. I love your smile and your energy. You are just a bright beam of sunshine in my day today. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much for saying yes and being here for our viewing audience. And please, let me just put this up here again. Register for the pitchsecretmasterclass.com. You can follow Dr. Forbes on all things social media or at ForbesRiley.com. And if you want the movie,
yeah, that's kind of cool. It's definitely, it's part of it's the joy. If you go to YouTube, you could probably watch about 16,000 hours of my TV series and the movies I've done. I don't really focus on that part of my career, but I love when I get to do it.
Well, thank you. Thank you so very much. To our listening audience, you have been here for another edition of Business and Financial Raw Talk, where we challenge you to shift your mindset when it comes to business and financial secrets to success. Remember, success leaves clues. And we are featuring another amazing giant and someone who's actually walking the walk, not just talking the talk, Dr. Forbes Riley. Please follow her if you're not connected with her and sign up for the class. What do you have to lose, right?
There you go. Thank you, my darling.
And just remember, in life and in business, when your vision intersects with opportunity, success is inevitable. Until next week, everyone. Bye-bye.